Will the counsel for the defendant please call their first witness?
Your Honor, I'd like to call to the stand Officer Edward Waldeman.
Officer Waldeman, please take the stand.
Officer Waldeman, I'd like to ask you a few questions about your background and some questions about the night in question. First of all, could you state your name for the record?
Officer Edward Waldeman.
And how old are you, Officer Waldeman?
47.
Are you married?
Yes.
All right. And how do you provide for your family? What is your occupation?
I am a police officer for the Chicago, Illinois Police Department.
And in what division are you employed?
Anti-crime.
The Anti-Crime Division. All right.
Yes, sir.
What is the purpose of the Anti-Crime Division?
To prevent crime and apprehend criminals.
Do you believe that's an important...
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yes, it is. All right, could you tell me about the events of the evening of December the 6th, 1996? Just in your own words, tell me how the evening began.
Yes, sir. Well, it began with my partner, Officer Levy, and I heading to the scene of a burglary.
And where were you, where was this alleged burglary?
It was in the, it was near, it was away from town.
All right. Where were you driving specifically?
Well, when we left the burglary to catch the suspect, we were turning onto California and going very slowly.
And why were you driving so slowly?
We were trying to spot the suspect who might have been escaping on foot.
I see.
And we saw a car trying to pass us. We then turned onto Evergreen Avenue, which is a one-way street. Cars parked on either side, and it was driving very close to us. We saw that it started honking its horn. We heard it honking its horn very loudly.
And about what time was this?
About 3:45 a.m.
3:45 a.m. This car was
Somewhere.
following you very slowly, honking its horn persistently.
Yes, sir.
And then what happened next?
And then I said to my partner, Officer Levy, who was driving, why don't we pull over and let this guy pass? He pulled over to the side then, and then the car pursuing parked at an angle to our car, hemming us in.
I see. So this car was following behind you very slowly, honking its horn persistently in the
Yes,
wee
sir.
hours of the morning, and
Yes, sir.
then pulled in front of you at an angle, preventing you from proceeding further. Did you find that odd or suspicious?
Yes, sir.
What happened next?
Next, he hopped out of his car and began yelling at, heading towards us.
I see.
As he was running around towards the back of his vehicle, Officer Levy opened the door and yelled, "Police!"
I see.
And then
And what happened next?
next, he continued coming and rushed towards my partner, and I got out of the car. There was more yelling.
At this
And
point, they
shouting.
were yelling and shouting at each other,
Yes, sir.
and you got out of the car.
Yes, sir. I got out of the car, and I looked over the top of the vehicle, and I could see my partner pinned to his open door, pinned to our vehicle, and Mr. Ramirez was on top of him.
So you were in the passenger side of the car. If I understand you correctly, you got out of the car,
Yes, sir.
and then the car was between you and Officer Levy
Yes, sir.
and the gentleman. And do you see the suspect, the aggressor, in the courtroom here today?
Yes, sir.
Can you point him out to us, please?
Yes, sir. He's sitting over there.
Please let the record show that the defendant indicated Mr. Robert Ramirez. Please continue. So the car is between you and them. They're having this altercation, and what happened next?
Next, I saw Mr. Ramirez raise a knife and stab my partner in the shoulder.
You did.
Yes, sir.
Just to be clear, you saw Mr. Ramirez, whom you just indicated, raise a knife and stab your partner, Officer Levy, in the shoulder.
Yes, sir.
I see. And what happened next?
And then I started running around towards them, around the back of our vehicle, and my partner, I could see, as I looked over as I was running, had Mr. Ramirez's hands in a grip.
And which hand did he have in a grip?
His right hand, which held the knife.
Which held it, okay.
And And then he lost his hold. I saw the knife raise again, and then before I got into them, I was still on my side, passenger side of the vehicle, and I aimed and fired at Mr. Ramirez.
All right, if I could back up just a moment. Before you discharged your revolver, you said that you saw Mr. Ramirez raise his right hand a second time.
Yes, sir.
And what did you believe was about to happen?
That he was about to potentially seriously injure my partner.
I see. I'd like you to look at the document here. Please let the record show I'm handing the witness Defense Exhibit B. Could you please read the heading on this document?
Chicago Police Department Training Manual.
All right. And if you would, please read for the court items A and 1.
An officer is justified in using force likely to cause death or great bodily harm only when he reasonably believes that such force is necessary to prevent death or bodily harm to the officer or another person.
Thank you. Did you understand that the discharge of your revolver might cause injury or death to the plaintiff?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, why did you choose to discharge your revolver at that moment?
To prevent serious bodily harm to my partner.
Did you reasonably believe that serious bodily harm, that your partner might incur serious bodily harm or death if you did not discharge your revolver?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
All right, and then what happened next?
Next, after I fired the single shot, Mr. Ramirez fell to the ground, and I yelled out, "Are you hurt?" to my partner. He said, "I'm cut," and he was gripping his shoulder, and I ran to call for help. And then the next thing that happened was that the police arrived, and the rest of the help arrived, and...
This was the backup you called
yes,
for?
Sir. And they took Officer Levy and Mr. Ramirez to the hospital.
I see. I'd like to show you one more exhibit here. Please let the record show I'm handing the witness Defense Exhibit A. Have you ever seen this knife before?
Yes, sir.
Please take a moment and look at it carefully.
Yes, sir, I have.
And when have you seen this knife before?
I saw it when we returned to the street after the stabbing.
All right, after the backup had arrived?
Oh, right, we took out the ground.
At that time, did you touch this knife?
No, sir.
Did your partner, Officer Levy, touch this knife?
No, sir.
Who would have touched this knife?
The backup that had arrived took it into evidence.
I see. Thank you very much. You're dismissed.